Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here with another postcard. Now, if you're unsure what I'm doing this. I came up with the challenge for 2024 July called GelyPostcardPlay. Basically, in a nutshell, 31 postcards, one launched every day for July. There are more details. If you go to the description box, scroll to near enough the bottom, you'll see the launch video plus the prep videos in there. Alternatively, put this into any of the search engines for, say, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and see what comes up. There's some great pieces being done by people partaking in it, and I'm very excited about it. So, today's postcard is this one. Now, before Eagle-Eyed You gets hold of it, this is going to be postcard number 14. I've stuck that on with a bit of Liquitex matte medium, only because, believe me, after cutting that out, if I'd have put it down, I would never have found it again. So that's what it is. So this is going to be card number 14. Now, I do need to do a little bit of prep work with this. So we're going to be dealing with gift wrap tissue. So I've got some of these are the scraps because I found if I clip them to a bulldog clip or a paper clip, they're not going to blow around. So I've got a spare piece of the gift wrap. I've got a ceramic tile. Now, if you don't have a ceramic tile, don't worry, just get an old plate, like a side plate or something like that. Or the next time you're in a thrift store, pick up a spare plate. I mean, sometimes you'll find ceramic tiles that you put in the kitchen to put spoons and stuff on. So just look around, I mean, or just go to your hardware store. I use ceramic tiles. I've got this one and I've got a big one that I use for pallets. I use them for absolutely everything, guys. So what I want to do is I want to stamp this. Now, I want to say Safia designed this or Sophia designed this for PM Artist Studio. It's definitely PM Artist Studio stamps. So if you go to their website and you look up foam stamps and look through, you'll see they've got several really good flower ones. Well, they've got all of them are good, but there's some really nice flower stamps there that I've been using lately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do embossing with embossing powder onto gift wrap tissue. Yes, it can be done. You just have to move a little quicker because remember, this is an absorbent surface. This is an absorbent surface, so you need to get your powder down quite quick. And we'll talk more as we go. I'm going to use, this is Paper Mania Gold Embossing Powder. I don't have a huge amount of embossing powders, but I have enough for what I need. Let's just move this over slightly so we're there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just do it by there. I'm going to take an embossing pad. I probably need a new one soon because this one's a bit old, but I'm just going to, I find that if I put pad to stamp, I get far better results for coverage than I do the other way around. So now the reason I've not put the gift wrap tissue directly onto my clean off paper is because if I was doing this, then the embossing stamp may go all the way through to the other side. So I'm going to press it out. I press it in the middle, and I press around the edges to make sure that everything has been in contact. This is where I move quickly. So I'm going to lift that off there, and I'm going to come on. I'm quite heavy-handed with my application of embossing powder, but it doesn't matter because it's easily cleaned up. This, I would probably just wipe it with a bit of a damp cloth just to get any excess of it. I'm not overly worried because I use my stamps mainly for acrylic paint, but this just cleans it up, just a bit of a damp cloth. You could even use a wet wipe if you use wet wipes. So that's been sat on there a second or two. It didn't need to sit on there a second or two, but I put it on there. Let's put the lid on top of the embossing pad because I don't want that drying out any more than it is. And then, as you can see, you get a beautiful, lightweight embossed piece. Now, you're not going to get a huge, heavy embossed flower unless you've got a very juicy embossing pad and maybe thicker embossing powder. So that's just my choice. I like what that is. Now, this is where some of the techniques come in. Let's remember, this is gift wrap tissue paper. It's very susceptible to fire. So when you use your heat gun on it, don't get too close to it in one spot. Keep the keep the gun going. Also, I use a ceramic tile and I hold it with my thumb, so when I'm actually blowing it with the heat gun, the heat is pressing it down onto my tile. You could use a side plate or a side dish, as I said. The only thing I would say is make sure you're doing that, because if you're just trying to hold this, it's going to blow all over the place. So I am going to use my heat tool, guys, but I'm going to drop the volume all the way down to almost minimum. So let your gun heat up and then go in. And I'm back. Sorry, I was slightly in this corner, but my socket is over there and the cable goes so far. As soon as it's done, make sure that you lift it up so it's away from the tissue. So as you can see, I've now got a metallic flower. We'll come back to this, I promise you, because there's a little bit more I need to do to this before we can use it. Now, there is another thing on this plate, and I've left it on there. If you see, you will have a residue of the embossing ink and a reflection at the top of my window, apparently. But I always just wipe that off. Now, I'm going to be doing another embossed thing, so I need to keep things sort of where they are. This time, I'm going to use a clear embossing powder. This one's by Paper Mania Dough Craft. And this time, where is it? I want to use this. Now, this is a Semic writing by PM Artist Studio. Comes in a large size and a smaller size. It's the smaller size I want. And the reason I want this is I want to sit it directly down the edge of the postcard there for my overall design to work, which you haven't seen all of it, so don't worry, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. Now, I'm not going to use an embossing pad this time because I want this in red and I'd like it to be red and shiny if possible. So I'm going to come in with a, oh, that's a bad paint top. I'm just going to put a bit of red paint down. I've got to order paint. I keep saying that in every video, don't I? I never get around to doing it though. Now, I'm going to get a store card or a door key or whatever you've got, a gift card, and I'm going to smear this out. If you've got a brayer for gel printing, that works equally as well. So I want a coat, but I don't need it to be a hugely thick one. I'm going to tap this a few times, making sure when I look at it that all areas are actually ready. See what I mean? I don't mind if it's a little bit high in places, because once I've got it on there, I can do one stamp to the side and it'll smooth all that out again. So this is fully equipped now. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to place it on here. Now, again, I should have taken the lid off this. Now, I'm using the paint as the glue. So I'm just going to press it down, make sure it's fully in contact, lift that up, and immediately I'm going to sprinkle this over the top. And what that will do, obviously, means that the embossing powder, which is a bit lumpy today, will stick to the stamp. So I'm going to move that to one side a second, just so it's thinking about itself. Put the lid on that because I'm notorious for knocking that over. And I'm going to pull in one of those, one of these that I'm working on, which is basically, it's a novel or a textbook or whatever you want it to be. And I'm literally using up spare things on pages. So I'm going to come in, because I'm certainly not going to waste paint. I'm going to put this on there, and I've got another one of these on the go, which is this one. Let's see somewhere where I want to put. Let's put it on there. I don't mind purple. So, and possibly next month you'll see me doing more with these books. I just wanted to make sure that you saw what I was doing with the spare paint instead of throwing it away. I'll put a bit of a bulldog clip on this one. I can then come in and I can use up this spare paint somewhere else. So there you go, there's a red page. Let's put some gold on it. The book I actually got from the thrift store, and it was two books for $1. Well, 2 books for £1 for me, but so it was like I couldn't just walk away from a book that's that inexpensive. Right, come on you get. So I'm going to put this to one side, and then we'll get on with the rest of it. So now this obviously needs a clean up, and this needs a clean up, but I'm not hugely concerned at the moment because I can do those after we finish filming. And get that off my fingers so you don't think I've cut myself on something, which I haven't, guys. Let's put that on a damp cloth as well so it doesn't dry out. So coming back in, I'm going to tap this off. Now, as you can see, it's going to look slightly milky, but when I heat it up, it's going to go nice and clear, and it'll give me sort of a gloss look, which is what I'm looking for. Excess away. I tell you what, I bought these pots of embossing powder, and I've only got about 4 different colours because I haven't really invested in. This has got to be like 6 years old at least. It's a pot that keeps on giving, I tell you. I never seem to run out of it. So again, I'm going to come in with the heat tool, and I'm going to turn the volume down just so you can see all stages, guys. So here we go. Now I have found, as you saw there, it takes a little bit longer to get the embossing powder to liquefy when it's on paint. You have to be careful though. You don't want to be so long that you bubble the paint because that could ruin your design. But happy with that, that's where I want to go. Right, I'm now going to pause the video, guys, because I need to get that lot cleaned up and sorted out. And then I'll come back and then we can do some assembling and sticking and finishing it all off. And I'm back. So let's go on to the next stage now. Now, another reason I quite like using a ceramic tile is because I can pick it up for you guys to see what I'm doing. By embossing this image, and I've got a water brush here, what I've done is pretty much made the image almost plastic. So it does mean I can come quite close to the image to remove the excess. And that's different than with ink, because the ink I could actually just tear the ink and there'd be no difference. But if you're careful with the water brush, I'll just rip the end off that. You can come in really close and work your way around. And obviously, guys, you wouldn't be holding it in midair trying to do this. You would be doing it on the desk in front of you and taking a little more time, knowing people are not watching you. But so just work your way around. Try to be careful. But as I said, you can get a little bit closer with the water brush when you've got an embossed image, for the simple fact that, as I said, the embossing powder makes almost a plastic outline to it. The thicker your embossing powder, the juicier your pad, the more robust that outline will be. Let's take this bit off because it's going to annoy me in a minute. If I've got bits hanging around, you can guarantee I'll get my finger trapped in them. So coming around here. Doesn't take long to do this. It just seems a long time when you're actually videoing it. There you go. Happy with that. Let's put the lid on this before I rest that somewhere where it's going to get absorbed into more stuff. So, cut the paper. There you go. So as you can see now, I could come in and really try to fussy cut that as well. That's not going to happen in my life, guys, because that's far too tedious to do all that. I am going to, however, put it onto here, and I want it over here because I want that intensity. So I'm going to bring in a touch of the matte gel medium. Again, a bit there. So this is the brand I'm using. You could use any brand you want. I think you could even do the same with Mod Podge, to be honest with you. Actually, I should be okay on this, shouldn't I? Let's just put this on a bit of a napkin. So I'm just going to take a brush. It's a fairly, oh, that's a stiff one. It's a fairly soft brush. And I want to place this up by here. So pretty much to there. So I'm going to come in and give it a good coating of matte medium. Not so much that it creates ridges underneath where there's so much matte medium, but I do want to make sure that it's where it needs to be. Pop that down there. And then as every time I do this, I've said to you before, work from the inside to the outside, working any air bubbles out. If I get a wrinkle in here, I am not going to worry, because if I start worrying about wrinkles, I will ruin the entire thing because I'll overbrush it. Right, I think that's probably as much as I dare do at this moment in time. Now, as this dries, it will be clearer. A little bit over there. For some reason, that doesn't look like it's going to go transparent on me. It should do. Wipe that off the top of my letters. So I'm going to leave that dry for a few seconds, but I am going to come in. Now, I found this little image in a magazine. It was part of an advertisement for a watch, and this sparked this entire design. So my thought is, I want to pop that down there. So I'm going to come in and pop this down, and I'm just going to use matte gel medium again because I've got it on the go. Why not? Now, you do have to be careful. Some magazine images will, the image might smear. So know your magazine is what I'm trying to get at. I happen to know this was a magazine where the images are normally fine, but I've been caught out before now. So I think that's all that needs. Right, I need to stop the video. I'm going to get this nice and dry for you guys, and then we'll take a look at it and see whether I need to do anything more to it, which I don't think I will, actually. I can't see that this needs anything else. So here we are, all nice and dry. Now, this little area here never went transparent. Now, you can either encompass that or do something about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking some of this. This is cobalt. It's not exactly the same color, but if I take a stiffish brush and just pick up a little bit of the ink on the end and just dab it from above, I can't make it 100% disappear, but I can certainly push it into the background a bit. There is an alternative if you're the person who does work with pencils. You could put a coat of clear gesso on here, a clear gesso that's textured, and once it was fully dried, you could come in and actually work your way around with a coloured pencil in the same colour and put some shading into it. But I'm fine with it actually being as it is. I just didn't want the whiteness of that. So there you go. That's just knocked that back enough that it looks like it's blending into the background for me. Just a little bit over here too. I could obviously have taken the paint that I used and done the same thing, although I do find when I do it with paint, it never seems to be as blended, should we say, as it is when I do with this method. I'm not worrying about my paintbrush turning blue. It's a permanent ink. There isn't much that's going to reactivate that, I can tell you. So there you go. That's just that done. Let's just move that off there. Put that to one side. So that's number 14 done, guys. So as you can see, I've got this really shiny inscription here. The gold in the light really does pick up. This sets the tone for the whole postcard. And that's number 14. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until the next postcard. Bye-bye now.